So you've got this awesome idea for a Star Wars story. It's so awesome you think it can work as the basis for the next trilogy of films, or the next video game, or at the very least the next best-selling Star Wars novel. You've slaved for months and maybe even a year over the manuscript, perfecting each character, every line of dialogue, every twist and turn the story takes, and after carefully crafting this cosmic cacophony, you package the pitch up, send it off to Lucasfilm, and they pull it out of their mailbox, take a single glance at it, and promptly toss it in the trash. No one's gonna read it, homie. Here's why. You have just submitted unsolicited materials.
Congratulations, you played yourself.
Go on every major studio's official website, and somewhere on it you'll see something along the lines of, "This studio does not accept unsolicited submissions of any kind which may contain any product, artwork, story idea, or other creative material. Unsolicited submissions will be returned to sender
unopened."
What? Why won't they read my pitch? Don't they know what they're missing? My story is incredible. If only I could get it into the hands of somebody in charge of publications. Check this out, it's my inbox. This is the contact email listed on my YouTube channel. Everything you see in this particular folder is a story submission, or a manuscript, or a comic, or a screenplay. Some creative idea that somebody wants me to take a look at to either give them feedback, or maybe even publish. As much as it'll probably upset some of you who have sent me stuff to read, the truth is, like those studios, I've opened none of them, and I never will. So why don't film studios or publishing companies or directors or musicians or whatever, why don't they look at unsolicited material? There's a few reasons. First off, as you can tell from the name, this material that you have submitted was unsolicited. In other words, nobody asked you to send it to them. Unwanted emails and spam, regardless of the content, is really annoying and can often place an unfair expectation on the recipient.
Hey, I took the time to send you this thing.
Why won't you write me back?
Because I've got to keep it fair. The truth is, if I read through even one of those submissions and offered feedback and word got out, then every single person would be expecting me to do the same for theirs. This month alone, I got 22 stories emailed to me. If I had to spend all my time reading and reviewing everything that came my way, I would never have any time to make anything myself. Now imagine the hundreds upon thousands of unsolicited scripts and screenplays that a company like Marvel or Lucasfilm has to deal with on the daily. It's an impossible task. Even if the next great screenplay was in that collection, it would be impossible to pick it out and assess it fairly alongside every other submission. Another important reason they ignore unsolicited material is because they didn't ask for it. In other words, it's work they didn't pay for. The thing about companies that work and deal in creative materials is that they've got to make sure that everyone is being paid. Even if you contributed a single story note for a Spider-Man movie, you've got to be included in the credits of the work. And in an industry where actors, directors, writers, and the like all have unions that represent them, if a company accepts a submission they did not specifically offer money up front for, they're opening themselves up to all kinds of union penalties, and especially in the United States, trouble with Uncle Sam come tax time. But the biggest, and I mean the biggest reason companies aren't reading your unsolicited material is because opening it up and reading it is just begging for a lawsuit. If the team at Lucasfilm opened up your manuscript, read it, then turned it down, and then like 5 years later just happened to publish a story that bore even a small resemblance to the work you had sent their way, you've got a case that they stole your idea.
You stole my story.
This opens them up to all sorts of legal trouble. Even something as simple as using a character name that you sent them would provide a groundwork for their company to be sued. And no company in the world wants to deal with constant intellectual property lawsuits that require a constant supply of money to either win, settle, or pay out. The only way to safeguard against this legally is for the company in question to establish a policy of returning or destroying without opening any and all unsolicited creative materials. So don't be too surprised when your amazing story pitch gets sent right back to you unopened with a letter attached stating unequivocally they will not look at it. But Austin, I hear you saying, this story has to be told. It's the next great Batman story or the next great Harry Potter installment. I hear you. You want to have a shot writing or creating material for a big name established franchise. Here's my advice. Number 1, get a literary agent. In other words, representation for you as a writer. If it's a novel, screenplay, or even some nonfiction work, it pays to have someone acting as your agent, shopping it around to the right people. Literary agents are specifically in the business of connecting writers with companies who need them. They can look for and find publishing houses who are willing to consider your work. Think about it like this. Very rarely will an unrepresented actor or actress score a major role in a Hollywood film, and it's no different with writers. Just like actors need agents, so do authors. So try to find one that will represent you. They get paid when you get paid, so it's literally their job to help you find success. They can navigate the often treacherous world of publishing so that you can focus on writing a good story. Having said that, getting one can be difficult, so your best bet is to go and submit your work at a writer's conference or a contest, or try and establish a personal working relationship with someone in the business. Big warning, there are a lot of literary agent scams out there, so read my lips, legitimate literary agents do not charge upfront fees. They will not bill you for operating expenses. They will not charge a certain amount of money per page. They will not offer to publish your book right away through a vanity press. If somebody's offering to be your agent, but they're requiring you to pay them some kind of upfront cash for them to even consider your book, you're getting ripped off, kid. Number 2, write original stories. While all of us would like to have carte blanche with a universe like the Wizarding World or the galaxy far, far away, these established properties likely already have writers assigned to them. And if we're not being too proud, those writers are likely more experienced than you when it comes to working with said properties. Instead, why not establish yourself as a competent writer by creating your own original worlds? 10 times out of 10, it seems publishers for established properties ask already established writers to work in their universe because they already have a proven track record of excellence. They have an established reader base. They're likely to bring in more sales. As an unnamed, unrepresented, aspiring author, you don't have that yet. So, shelve the Batman script for now and write something original. If need be, create a world in a similar vein or genre to the property that you're aspiring to write for, but create your own world, your own original story from the ground up. This will eliminate annoying gatekeepers and often will actually make you a better overall writer. Besides, if push comes to shove and you're hurting for ideas, you could always take a property that's in the public domain and adapt it. Nowadays, lots of publishers are actually hunting for the next great iteration of classic stories. If you can't create your own universe, then use one that you have permission to play in. If you can establish yourself as a great writer of original works, it won't take too long before those studios come knocking. Number 3, this is a big one that could really only happen in today's day and age: build an audience. If you've got an audience, a dedicated readership, you'll have an easier chance of getting eyes on your pitch. I found this illustrated in my own life. 3 years ago, I couldn't get anybody to look at anything I had written. Nobody would give me the time of day because there was no guarantee that my stories, even the original ones, would find success in the marketplace. Today, I've got an online audience of several 100,000 people. I'm not having nearly as much trouble convincing companies that folks will actually go out of their way to buy something that I write or work on. For a better example, look at The Martian by Andy Weir, best-selling novel adapted into a blockbuster film. That book was originally self-published. He couldn't find any literary agents willing to represent him or the novel, so he decided to put the book online, chapter by chapter, for free on his personal website. Slowly but surely, he worked up an online following. The audience eventually pushed him to release the book on Amazon Kindle, willing to even pay money for it. And when he did, it shot up to the top of Amazon's best-selling science fiction titles, and then the big publishers caught notice. He sold the audiobook rights and then eventually the print rights for a nifty 6 figures. Eventually it was a New York Times bestseller, and Matt Damon found his way into a spacesuit. The internet at work, folks. Now, while that certainly won't happen with everybody, the point is this. In a day and age of Patreon, YouTube, Instagram, places where you can establish a direct connection with an audience, a direct line of support from people who like what you write, the only thing that's really stopping you from gathering an audience is the quality of your work. If you can gather that audience yourself, If you can write or create something that speaks to people so well that they're willing to support you as an independent creator with their own time or money, that's power. And the only thing keeping you from it is you. So for now, work on your craft, improve as a storyteller, take shots here and there, and always be reading and learning, because the truth is, the key nowadays isn't to beg a studio to let you write for them. The key is to be so good and so successful at writing and telling stories that the studio begs you. Ad break. This video is brought to you by Skillshare. If you'd like some practical guides to becoming a better writer, consider its online learning community with over 20,000 classes. Premium membership gives you unlimited access. You might check out this class by New York Times bestselling author Daniel Jose Older on storytelling fundamentals. It's a beginner-level course, meaning you really don't need any previous experience. In it, you'll dive into the fundamentals of storytelling by exploring the 4 C's: character, conflict, context, and craft. Skillshare has a curated selection of high-quality lessons that work practically. It's a huge step up from just performing a generic internet search and hoping you'll land on good advice. This is a class taught by a writer who has actually found success in publishing his work. If you want to join the millions already learning on Skillshare, you can today, because I've got this awesome deal just for you. The first 500 people to visit the link in the description get 2 months of Skillshare for free. Just follow the link in the description and start learning today.